Alright, guys, come. So, endocrine system. Okay, endocrine system, earlier this chapter we mentioned, that's basically your hormones punya system. It secrete hormones. So what are hormones for? Okay, below here you will see already lah. Okay, first, right, endocrine system, right, we will call them, they are mainly consist of glands, endocrine glands, known as ductless glands. So the meaning of glands, right, are organs that secrete hormones. Like ductless means they don't have like a tube, they don't have any duct. You know what I mean of duct, right? Like do that pipe like that. Okay, unlike your, okay, what is that one? Wait, wait. Okay, better, yeah. So unlike your blood circulatory system, your blood circulatory system has blood vessel. Your digestive system got your digestive, right? Esophagus, stomach, small intestine. Nerve system that we just learned have neurons. So every system that I just mentioned just now right, have its own duct, but endocrine don't have. Okay, so the hormones, right, they will tumpang with the blood. So hormones, right, they flow with blood. Okay, that's why sometimes it takes longer for hormones to come into effect. Okay, like for example, let's say you see a pretty girl, it also take few seconds for you to become horny. So that's the thing lah. Okay, it's not immediate one. Now, in your endocrine system, right, pituitary gland is the main gland. So remember we learned about the brain that time. There's this part called the pituitary gland, okay, located here one. Okay, that is the, we call it the master gland. Okay, so because this gland, as they say here, why he deserved the title master is because it secretes hormones to control the other glands in your body. Okay, so it's like, let's say here's your pituitary gland, then it can use hormones to control every gland, not all, but most of the gland, which we're going to mention later lah, over here. Okay, and hormones, what do they do? Okay, finally here we mention it lah. It will control homeostasis. So for throughout chapter 13, we will then learn how does it help to regulate homeostasis, your internal environment, your blood sugar, blood pressure, and all. But at the same time, also we will learn hormones also helps to regulate growth. Hormone also involved in reproduction. However, reproduction, this one, right, we will mainly learn in chapter 15. So seldom we will have like hormone punya questions, right? Asking about reproduction one, unless it's a reproduction question like chapter 15. Yeah. So today we just mentioned a bit, but in detail, they will learn it more in chapter 15 lah. Okay. Right. So the difference between nervous and endocrine. So this is one of the things they will ask you to compare, and they can ask you to compare up to 10 marks, like maximum marks. Okay, so they will show you like this picture like that. Then they'll show you a nervous system also. Okay, first they ask you to compare. So of course you name the system first. You get 1 mark already. Okay. The next one is uh what is our nervous and endocrine system made up of? So nervous system is made up of millions of neurons. Neurons means like nerves. Okay, so it's like uh this picture over here. So this is it. This one, see all these nerves, all these are your neurons, so we have millions of it. Then endocrine system, ductless endocrine glands. Yeah, all this. So they don't have duct, they're not like connected with each other. Alright. And nervous system, like we learned for the past 2 weeks, can control both voluntary and involuntary. You swore, you peristalsis, you move your hand, both also can control. But endocrine, your hormone, right, definitely is involuntary. You can never control it. Okay, then I feel that this three, right, is quite easy actually. It's related also. So usually if it's structural question, right, you can just write these three. Because structural question most around 2 to 3 marks only. So three will be enough. Okay, which they say here, nervous system transmit nerve impulse ma. So nerve impulse are definitely in the form of electrical, and electrical is definitely fast. Like we mentioned, right? Your brain asks your hand to move so you can move. Right? Your sound, somebody speak to you, you can hear it immediately. So very fast. Endocrine is chemical. So hormones, they are chemical, which chemical need to flow in your blood. It's like it takes time. So basically you on the tap, the water takes time to flow like that. So they are transmitted definitely slowly. But when we say slow, it's not like a few minutes. Usually it's like within a minute, few seconds only. Okay, so it's still quite fast. And of course, this one use neurons, transmitted via neurons, transmitted via bloodstream. Temporary and reversible. Temporary reversal means for nervous system punya action, right? Okay, if I control my hand to move up, I can reverse it. But endocrine system, hormones, once they do something, they last very long. Yeah, long means a few minutes. Irreversible means, right? Usually, let's say if a hormone increases, let's say like your blood pressure, the same hormone cannot decrease it. You need another hormone to decrease it back. So it's irreversible. But once the hormone does this, that's it. Okay. So yeah, this will be the easier one to remember. Lor. Electric, fast, neuron, chemical, slow, blood. And then what is it made up of? Also you can mention lah. Okay. Then similarities of these two systems. So both have target tissues or organs, means they both have effectors. Okay, they generate a response, just that one response is towards the outer environment, one is towards the internal environment, so that is for endocrine. And then yeah, it helps to regulate body activity. So the similarity is actually a bit not very nice to remember, yeah, but you have to try to lah if they ask 10 marks. Okay. Now, target tissue organs means they have effectors lah. So whether is it nervous or endocrine system, it controls certain tissues, certain organs in your body. Understand? Okay, so let's start with the main thing here already. Okay, now for endocrine system, right? Okay, there are generally two pathways over here, which we'll mainly focus on the first one first. Okay, so we start from pituitary gland. So just now we mentioned, right, pituitary glands secrete hormones to control other glands, right? Okay, so I just put here A and then B and then C. Okay, however, when certain glands receive hormones, right? Okay, let's say you have all these other glands here in your body. When you receive hormones, right, some of them will react differently than the others. Okay, some when they receive hormone, right, they will be straight away stimulated to carry out a function, and then it stops here. But certain glands, once they receive hormone from pituitary gland, they will be stimulated to produce another hormone, which then only does its function. Get what I'm trying to say now, guys? Okay or not? So again, since when some glands they receive hormones, right? Some of them will be stimulated to secrete another hormone, which carries out a function. But some glands, they straight away will carry out a function. Okay, later you see this example. Okay, this one later first, put it aside first. This one later only we mention. Okay, so let me just show you down here. So the A, B, C, D, E that I wrote just now is like this. A, B, C, D, E lah. So you can see the one that I put dash here, right? Means it straight away being stimulated to carry out a function. Means it will end here lah, end at D lah. Okay, now, but out of all these hormones here, right? Okay, usually in our chapter 12, the commonly asked one, okay, like literally like to ask this like almost all the time, right? Okay, the first one definitely, thyroid stimulating hormone, growth hormone, definitely. Okay, this two is quite important also, but what all the details, what does it really do, right? Is mainly chapter 15. So here you just agak know the basic function first. Okay. And then ADH also quite important, but this one mainly also we learn more in chapter 13. But yeah, I'll put a star also because it's important also. And next page also got a few more. Okay, this insulin, the blood sugar one, adrenaline also important. Okay, but these two, the pathway slightly different. Okay, so let's focus on this one first. Okay. Now, by the way, your pituitary gland is divided into anterior and posterior. Okay, yeah, this is your pituitary gland. I know it looks like something else, but yeah, this is how your pituitary gland looks like. Okay, anterior means it's facing the front. Posterior means facing the back. Right? So this one they seldom ask that, but let's say if they do, there's only two hormones that come from the posterior, which is this ADH and something called oxytocin. Okay, now, but let's start with the most common one first, TSH. Now, this hormone is example of pathway number one. Okay, this hormone, as the name says, thyroid stimulating hormone, is a hormone that stimulates thyroid. So if you don't know where is your thyroid gland, it's located at your neck here. You can see it's like a butterfly shaped thingy that covers your neck over here. Okay, so that's where your thyroid is located. So if you hear before thyroid cancer, yeah, it's basically here. Then this hormone stimulates the thyroid gland to secrete another hormone called thyroxine. So you need to know the difference between these two hormones, TSH and thyroxine. So TSH is stimulate thyroid gland secretes thyroxine. This hormone, very important actually, it basically increases your metabolism. So metabolism higher means you generate more energy. So therefore, body temperature increase. So usually when you're cold at time, you need this hormone. And it also regulates growth and development. So okay, but this usually for growth is when you're a kid, when you're in children. So when you're smaller, that time this hormone also help you to grow because more metabolism means your body can absorb nutrients faster, you can grow faster. Okay. Now, metabolic rate also gives you energy. Remember, I just mentioned. So which is this hormone also is being secreted when, let's say, you're exercising, or probably you need to when you're facing some dangerous situation like a dog chasing you, for example. Yeah, this hormone also is needed. Okay. So I just want to emphasize on one thing is that okay, some questions they'll ask like this. So they will some from pituitary gland, they'll point like this. Okay, they put here X. Then sometimes they'll put here another one, Y. So you must see carefully. If they ask you what is hormone X, this is TSH because the hormone that stimulates thyroid. If they point like this hormone coming out from the thyroid gland, then only is thyroxine. So you must know the differentiate properly. Okay. Then growth hormone is example of pathway number 2. Means it ends slightly earlier a bit. It doesn't produce another hormone. So you see, growth hormone obviously goes to your muscle and bones, stimulates muscle and bone to grow. Easy. Okay, so this luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. Now, these hormones, right, you actually can write short form, right? FSH and luteinizing hormone. Okay, now this hormone, it stimulates reproductive organs basically. So reproductive system and endocrine system also they is connected one because reproductive organs are stimulated by hormones. Okay, so for example, in male, of course, it's testes. In female, of course, it's ovary. But in our chapter 15, right, we actually mainly will focus on female only. Okay, but never mind, guys also we need to mention. Okay, don't sexist. So FSH stimulates testes to undergo spermatogenesis, means production of sperm. So you can see it ends here, it doesn't produce another hormone. FSH also stimulates ovaries to develop follicle cells. Okay, in chapter 15, we'll learn what are follicles. Okay, follicles, right, they are basically a group of cells that surrounds the ovum. And what does follicle do? They develop the ovum. Okay, means when girls produce ovum at that time, right, the ovum actually need to slowly grow up. It's not straight like plop, come out. So the ovum, when you produce time, is like a baby cell. So these follicle cells help to develop the ovum, and eventually, once the ovum is fully developed, the follicle cells will release the ovum out. Okay, so this FSH stimulates the follicle to develop so that it can develop the ovum. Understand? Okay, then LH will stimulate both testes and ovary to produce another hormone. So for guys, it will stimulate testes to produce testosterone. Testosterone stimulates secondary sexual characteristics. What do you mean by secondary sexual characteristics? It means characteristics not related to sex. I mean, not related to reproduction. Okay, so for example, testosterone is the reason why guys, our voice is deeper. Testosterone is also the reason why guys have bigger muscle build. So that's secondary sexual law. So if you are a guy and you don't have the testosterone, then sorry lah, you become a bit gay. Okay. Now ovaries, LH stimulate ovaries to also produce another ovum, estrogen, and progesterone. But at the same time, got another function also. LH stimulates ovaries to undergo ovulation. Ovulation is basically this process, the process of releasing the ovum out. So after the follicle developed the ovum already, LH help to secrete out the ovum. Okay, And estrogen progesterone helps to develop the uterus. Uterus means the girls punya 子宫 the part where, yeah, you know, right, the part where the girls get pregnant one, yeah, over here, the uterus, the girl's uterus over here. Yeah, so, okay, this one you don't worry first. In chapter 15, next month, we'll learn this very, very detailed. I teach you very easy to remember one. Okay, so for now, you just agak try to remember first. Okay, now, ADH, now I call this the P hormone, helps you to P one, helps you to 跟进 one. ADH stimulates kidneys to reabsorb water. Okay, means like this. See, let's say this is your kidneys. Okay, so what does ADH do? ADH will stimulate your kidney to reabsorb water back into your body when you lack of water. Okay, so let's say today you whole day you forgot to bring water to school. You never drink water. Okay, so once your water all reaches your kidney, or your kidney will be like, oh shit, this fella got no water. So instead of secreting the urine out, the ADH will your body will secrete more ADH to secrete your kidney to absorb back the water. Understand? So means let's say if you don't drink water the whole day, you will need more ADH because you need ADH to reabsorb the water back into your body so you don't secrete the pee out. And so if you don't drink water, your pee very little one yellow color one because got not enough water in your body, so your body absorb back lor. Yeah, so in chapter 13 also, we'll mainly learn this very detailed. Okay, ACTH, this hormone, you can remember the short form. Yeah, not a very common hormone we will mention. Now, this hormone stimulates adrenal gland. Cortex means the outer part of the adrenal gland to secrete aldosterone. Okay, so where is adrenal gland? Adrenal gland is located right on top of your kidney. So ACTH is the hormone that stimulates adrenal gland. Okay, on top here, to secrete a hormone called aldosterone. Aldosterone is the opposite of ADH. Aldosterone stimulates kidney to reabsorb salt. So just now when I say your body lack of water that time, you will actually need lesser aldosterone. Because your body already got no water, but you still want to absorb salt back into your body. It makes you even more thirsty, even more hypertonic. That's why we don't secrete this. Okay. Prolactin, basically it's only for female. Production of milk. Mammary glands means the breast. Oxytocin, guys and girls also got this hormone. Now it functions different in guys and girls. So in females, oxytocin stimulates the uterus to contract during childbirth. And it also can stimulate mammary glands to produce milk. But in guys, oxytocin makes us feel slightly happier a bit. This hormone stimulates testes to ejaculate sperm. Okay, so that's the thing. But these two hormones, I almost never see question asked before. So honestly, you just focus on the one that I got put star one. These are the one they like to ask a lot. Okay, I know it will be a bit boring here, but yeah, this thing we have to go through Bear with me a bit Okay, let's go through one more thing here. Okay, now these two, pancreas, and also again now adrenal gland, but now we are focusing on adrenal medulla. So just now was adrenal cortex, the outer part. Now it's medulla inside. But when you write that time, right, you actually can just say adrenal gland. In your answer scheme, right, we don't need you to emphasize on medulla or cortex, right? You can just say adrenal gland can secrete adrenaline. Adrenal gland can also secrete something called aldosterone. Okay, so now let's start with pancreas first. So you can see, right, we still restart from pancreas. Why suddenly no pituitary gland already? Okay, because this is pathway number 2 over here. So there are certain glands that are not directly controlled by your pituitary gland, but instead they are controlled by hypothalamus. So hypothalamus will straightaway send nerve impulse to control certain glands to produce hormone to carry out a function. So pancreas, for instance, okay, it's stimulated by hypothalamus. So to control your blood sugar, basically, okay, got right here, it controls your blood sugar one. So when your blood sugar, let's say now very high, because now let's say you eat a lot of sweet things, you eat a lot of dessert, a lot of cake, a lot of sweet things you eat. So your blood sugar now very high. So your hypothalamus sense it. They will control your pancreas to secrete insulin. So I believe many of you will hear insulin before. Like diabetes people, they always need to inject insulin because insulin helps to decrease blood glucose level by converting excess glucose into glycogen. So in chapter 9, we mentioned before, okay, your excess glucose will be converted into glycogen. And anyone remember or not? Okay, today I haven't asked you any questions yet. Glycogen, what do we do with this glycogen? I didn't write here, but we got learned before one. What we do with this glycogen? Why we want to convert the glucose to glycogen? Because stored in the liver, okay, fats is after that, but mainly we store in your liver first. Yes, very good. So remember, we store inside your liver. Why? Because this is your backup sugar. If your liver full already, okay, then only be converted to fats. That's why sugar also causes you become fat. Why you want to store in your liver? Because if let's say the next day you didn't eat any food, your blood sugar will decrease. Now we will use the opposite hormone called glucagon to convert the glycogen back to glucose to increase your blood sugar level, so you have energy and you won't die. Understand? Understand, right, this one? Okay, so some of you will confuse between glycogen and glucagon. Okay, so just remember, glucagon is the hormone. So we convert excess glucose to glycogen. Then glycogen back to glucose, only we use glucagon, the hormone. Understand? Okay, last, adrenal gland. Again, okay, actually this one is not controlled by yeah, it is controlled by hypothalamus. But at the same time, not at the same time, now and then it will secrete adrenaline. Okay, this one you all should hear before lah. Adrenal gland, adrenaline. So this hormone mainly stimulates your cardiac muscle and also a bit of other muscles as well, other glands as well. Okay, but the main thing you must know what the function. Adrenaline increase your heartbeat, breathing, blood sugar, body metabolism. So in the end, this will give you more energy. Which, when do we need adrenaline? Is when we are under threat, that time of doing emergency situation, kanjong situation. Like suddenly go on further take a knife, Robin the robot you. Money now, then you like you start to shiver, tremor like that. Okay, that's because your body start to give you more adrenaline to help you fight that situation. Okay, let's say when you're about to go onto a roller coaster, you're very happy, also very excited. Also, you have adrenaline. Now you're about to MSSD. You try play football against another school. Also you have this adrenaline. So this hormone basically gives you energy during like yeah, this kind of excited emergency situation. Now, which later we will go through the pathway. Okay, but later only I go through lah. If I go through here, then you will sleep already. So this one later first. Okay, so those are the hormones. Okay, hopefully you can remember a bit. Okay, then this one we skip first, come back later. Okay, this one I got to learn together lah, because the questions they will ask together. This one, the health issues means what happens if you have excess of certain hormones or lack of certain hormones. The ones they always like to ask a lot is growth and thyroxine. They're the most common one. Okay, the rest, of course, also got us lah, but you focus more on these two lah. So for growth, very simple. So if you lack of growth hormone, you're very small. You know, like dwarf people, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So why are they like so short? It means they are adult already, but they are still like very small because the lack of growth hormone, so they have stunted growth. Gigantism is the opposite. So people who have gigantism, they are huge, taller than the door. So they go into a room also, they have to bend down. So usually around 2.5, 2.6 meters tall. So they are called gigantism. They have abnormal increase in length of bones. Okay, thyroxine. You have hypo and hyperthyroidism. Okay, let's talk about hyper first. So hyper means what? A lot of. So basically, you have excess thyroxine. You remember you're in Form 2 got learned before a nutrient-related disease, goitre. And you remember what was the reason caused by goitre or not? Too much what? Actually, both also will have goitre. So basically, the nutrient that causes goitre is iodine. Okay, so if you eat too much iodine, you could have hyperthyroidism. And where does iodine come from? Iodine usually comes from seafood. Lah. Yeah, right here. Okay, goitre is a symptom whereby your neck here like swollen. So what is swelling is actually your thyroid gland. Okay, so just like we said it, right? Thyroxine increase metabolism, give you more energy. More energy means it increase your body temperature, right? So you feel warmer, hotter. So which means if you have too much thyroxine, the main problem you're going to have is high metabolism. Now, what's the problem with high metabolism? If your metabolism is too high, it means your body consume nutrients very quick, break down nutrients very quick, so you have more energy, so therefore your heart rate will increase. So since your body utilize nutrients very quick, let's say your body use sugar very quick, burn down fats very quick, so you'll be very skinny. And since you have more energy in your body, sometimes you might have insomnia, you can't sleep properly, so therefore you feel tired, and you feel very hot at the same time. Basically, all of them are very important now, all this. Okay. And remember we mentioned Jung Hao a lot of problem. Now this is legit, I'm not joking. This is literally one of the problems he used to have. Okay. Now succeed a bit already. But usually when nearing exam that time, right, it will come back one because you all will make him angry, you all everything so don't know, then he start to get mad, and then his heart rate will increase. So yeah. Okay. He his heartbeat, right? I think he told you all before one, some of your wish even in normal situation like this right now, right? I'm sitting down, we're not exercising, right? Our normal heart rate should be around 70, like that only, right? His heart rate can go up to 100 at this kind of situation. Is that serious that time? Okay, but then after that, subside a bit already lah. You got to take medication and also, and so that's why you can see he's so skinny, right? He can never get fat one. Ah, that's the thing, lor. Okay, and hypothyroidism, it's oh yeah, so this one could be due to excess iodine, which you eat too much seafood. This one could be lack of iodine. So hypo is the opposite. So if you lack of what's that? Thyroxine, right? Opposite of low body metabolism means your body break down sugar, break down fats very slow, so you get lesser energy, so slow heart rate. And since you break down nutrients very slowly, your body will store excess sugar, store excess fats in your body, so you get heavy easily. Okay, you gain weight easily. So some people, right, even they eat very little also, but somehow they get overweight very easily. Yeah, this could be the problem. Sensitive to cold is because low metabolism means lesser energy generated. Ah, that's the thing. Then insulin, this one you know lah, diabetes people, right? Some people they have diabetes is because their pancreas spoil already, cannot produce insulin. So they have diabetes. So glucose cannot be converted into glucagon. Yeah. So what actually causes diabetes is, okay, number one, you could be born with it, or because you everyday eat a lot of sweet things, right? Your pancreas will start to be like, oh, this my human here need a lot of sugar. So they will think that high sugar is normal. So they will stop secreting insulin. Understand? And if you have diabetes, right, basically you will pee a lot. Okay, you drain a lot of water. This one you will learn in chapter 13 why. And why do every time we say, right, people who have diabetes have to chop off the leg, right? Like the 蜜雪 snowman like that. Every time they drink so sweet. That's why no leg, right? Because sugar will slow down transmission of nerve impulse. It also will interfere with your blood clotting process. So our leg, right, we always very commonly stub our toe, like as they hit the door, hit the edge of the table. So since you have diabetes, right, you might not feel the pain because your the nerve is less sensitive, you have numbness and all. So when even though bleeding that time, you might not notice it. Then you just like ignore it. You just put on your socks, put on your shoe, and you go out. And then due to the fact that high blood sugar reduces slows down blood clotting process and also slow down healing, right? The wound at your leg will get worse and worse, and then the whole leg becomes cannot save. You don't have to chop off. Okay, yeah, that's why we always relate to diabetes to chopping off leg. It's because of this lah. Because usually we injured our toes more often than other parts of your body, and the wound cannot heal. It gets worse and worse and worse. Then the whole leg have to chop off. Okay, hypoglycemia is the opposite. Means you too much insulin, so you convert too much sugar into glycogen, so you have low blood sugar, so you get tired and all. Okay, last one. You need to do your questions. Stay awake first, guys. Now, this one, listen. Now we have two types of diabetes. So the one that we did sugar, right, is called mellitus. So from now on, you have to write the full name. Now the other one is called diabetes insipidus. When you have lack of ADH. So just like you say, ADH controls your kidney to absorb water back into your body. So if you lack of ADH, your kidney cannot absorb water back into your body when you need it. So you will always excrete out a lot of pee. So let's say this is your kidney. Kidney is supposed to help you excrete excess water. So if you lack of ADH, right, you cannot absorb water back into your body when you need it. So that they say here, water cannot be reabsorbed. So you keep on peeing non-stop, and then you will have lack of water in your body. So this has nothing to do with sugar. Understand? Okay. Now, then mitosis, called what mitosis? Got mitosis here? Okay, then next, if you got too much ADH, means you absorb too much water back into your body. Means your body water retention, no? Okay. Edema, lor. You remember edema, right? In chapter 10, when you got too much fluid to or water accumulate in your tissues. That's the thing, not excess water reabsorb into the kidney and then accumulate in your body, then they cause swelling of tissues, lor. Okay. Or mitosis. Okay, I understand. So lame. Bio joke. Okay, yeah, that's it. Okay, we do a bit of question first. Do around two questions like that. Let's okay for questions, right? We'll use our notes, normal notes. This month punya notes means this week I just hand out to you all that one. Okay. This week I just hand out to you all that one. You all come to this page number 27. Everyone found this page 27. This month punya notes. The one got one extra, the one that I just hand out to you this month one, the one that you just got it. Okay. So the most basic thing, of course, is you must know how to label the glands. So they will point glands like that. You must know what it is lah. Okay. So P, just now I told you the most common one they like to ask, the one located at your neck. This one is called the so neck is called what, guys? Remember not the T? Yes, Zach, very good. It's your thyroid. Thyroid gland, don't forget, right? The name gland. And then you can see got one, yes, Ari is correct. The one located on top of your kidney. It's not it's not pointing at kidney, it's a gland located on top of your kidney. This one is called adrenal gland. Adrenal medulla. Actually, you can just say adrenal gland. Medulla is just the outer part. Inner part. Cortex is the outer part. But they ask you to label, then you can just write adrenal gland. Don't need medulla or cortex. And then P is a leaf-shaped organ. Actually, they quite like to draw this over here, even though it's supposed to be located around here. Okay, but never mind. The leaf-shaped organ, this one you remember, right? Pancreas. This one only pancreas. Ayo. Just now ask R. Then this one is pointing at what's this? So this is a girl or a boy? This is the ovary. Yeah, this is a female one, of course. Okay, ovaries. Okay, so a bit of theory questions. Sometimes you ask these kind of questions. Okay, but very simple one. What are endocrine glands? So endocrine glands are basically yeah, these organs involved in your endocrine system, organs that secrete hormones. So you can say endocrine glands are, you can say ductless glands that secrete hormones. That's it. And basically, I answered for you already this question. All right, so name the secretion produced by an endocrine gland. Endocrine gland obviously produce hormone lah, huh? Takkan produce something else, nothing else. And this one is very commonly they ask why pituitary gland is the master gland. So why is it like the boss? Because just like most endocrine glands, it also can secrete hormones. But when it secrete hormone, right, the hormone that come from pituitary gland can actually, yes, very good, it can control other glands, which controls other endocrine glands. Now, if a woman lacks iodine in her diet, which endocrine gland is affected? So we just mentioned, right? Iodine. So this one a bit related to the diseases part, lor. So iodine is mainly needed to secrete, yeah, thyroxine. You need actually just now I forgot to mention why iodine will cause the two thyroid disease because iodine is needed for production of thyroxine. So you lack of iodine, if hypo, too much is hyper. So which gland is affected? Obviously, thyroid gland. Yeah, only one thyroid gland. And basically the disease, if they ask, is lack ma. So lack is high, it will cause hypothyroidism due to lack of thyroxine secretion. One secretion produced by gland S. Okay, let's look at gland S. So what hormone comes from gland S? Okay, this is ovary. Okay, can write goitre. Okay, goitre is actually a symptom of hypo and hyperthyroidism. So let's say they ask disease, right? You must say hypo. Goitre is just a symptom whereby you have swelling of gland. That's called goitre. But the overall the disease is called hypothyroidism because goitre can actually occur in both hypo and hyper. Okay, right. Then ovary. Okay, ovary the hormones, right? You can learn like that. You can remember that this FOLP means we feed our 老婆. So in Chinese, 老婆 means wife. Okay, whereby because next chapter, next few chapter 15, right? The menstrual cycle that time, right? The hormones they'll be secreted in this order. But at the same time, you can remember that F and L, the first and the third one, is secreted by pituitary gland to control ovary. O and P comes from the ovary. So you can remember that this is F, L, then ovary will secrete O, P. So it's FOLP, up, down, up, down. So the question here asks, one secretion produced by gland S, the ovaries. So you can either say O or you can say P. So the easier one, estrogen. Estrogen. Estrogen and progesterone both have the same function. They help to develop the female punya uterus. So basically, after menstruation, right, this hormone help to form back the uterus lining. So it stimulates development of uterus lining. Then a diabetic person who injected himself with overdose of hormone Y from gland Q feels weak and unsteady. Now state the hormone and how he can overcome this condition. So they already tell this hormone come from gland Q. Okay, but sometimes I see question, right? They won't mention the gland. So you need to know what hormone I inject too much could cause me to become weak and unsteady. Means like very dizzy, no strength like that. Okay, yeah. So obviously the answer is insulin. So diabetic people, they need to be careful with insulin as well. Sometimes right, they might actually inject too much. Okay. Yeah, that's why diabetic people, right? They I don't know whether you hear before, right? Sometimes they will keep something called an EpiPen, which this Epi stands for yeah, you hear before, right? I think it stands for what epinephrine, something like that, which is actually another name for adrenaline. Because if you inject too much insulin, your blood sugar become low. Then just you mentioned like adrenaline help you become more energetic, increase your heartbeat, increase your blood sugar, right? Yeah, so they will inject this thing, which is basically adrenaline to help them become more energetic, a bit increase back their metabolism. Yeah, but then we don't learn EpiPen this thing. So how to overcome? We don't need to mention this EpiPen. This one you just let you know only diabetic people they'll carry with them. So for this one you just say drink glucose solution or eat glucose pill, sugar pill. Yeah, so you can basically say drink glucose solution. So that would be the answer. Just drink sugar. And then, okay, come, this one very simple. Let's try to identify the hormones here. So all come from pituitary gland, but you can see the pituitary gland secrete different parts of your body. So hormones W and X, okay, we just name all of it lah, huh? So W, stimulate bones and muscle one, obviously is stimulate your muscle and bones too. Can we say like drink something sweet? Actually be more specific lah. We say drink glucose solution lah. That yeah, we better lah. Okay, yeah, just stick to glucose because diabetes means glucose level ma. So yeah, this one they want the answer glucose lah. Okay, then so W obviously is growth hormone, right? Where got thyroxine one? No, X only is thyroid. This one thyroid. So it's growth hormone. Can I see carefully? Okay, X. So just now I taught you how to see this carefully, right? So it's pointing from pituitary to thyroid. So this one must say, okay, this one is a hormone stimulating the thyroid, right? Yeah, so you must say TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. You can write the short form actually, but then this word not very hard to remember also, right? Yeah, so thyroid stimulating hormone. So unless the arrow come out like that, then only thyroxine, Okay. Then you can see hormone Y is stimulating testes and ovary. So what is this hormone? You can say LH. Yes, Hanisha, very good. You also can say the other one, FSH. Remember, FOLT. So F and L can stimulate testes and ovary. Yeah, so you can say FSH, LH. You can write the short form of this one. Actually, in Z, there's no hormone here because pancreas is the one that secretes insulin and glucagon. Yeah, so this one a bit mistake lah. State the function of hormone W, obviously stimulate growth in muscle and bones. Okay, then we skip a bit to okay, this one, page 33. But we'll still go to question C. Now, diagram 1.2 shows the change in concentration of blood glucose and hormones secreted by S over a 5-minute period. So S coming from your adrenal gland. Okay, adrenal and see right on top of your kidney one. Okay, then Suggest the stimulus for the increase in level of hormones secreted by S at time M. Okay, so you can see, right, at point M, right, suddenly you can see that your hormone S increases, then at the same time causing the glucose to then increase, because you can see that the S increase first, right? S go up first. So it's basically S cause glucose to increase. So you can see S is coming from adrenal. So what adrenal can secrete to cause blood glucose to increase? So this is not glucagon, because glucagon is come from pancreas, right? So this one should be, what's hormone S? So hormone S, adrenal mah. So adrenal, most likely is actually they want you to mention adrenaline, correct? Because adrenaline, remember, I told you, give you more energy during like fear, excitement that time. So how adrenaline gives you energy is by also increasing your glucose level and also your heartbeat and breathing lah. So they ask you to suggest the stimulus. So what could cause your adrenaline to suddenly increase? So you can say fear, excitement. Now, explain the increase fight or flight situation. Yeah, correct. So this is fight or flight situation. Later we will explain this lah. But yeah, they want the stimulus, so you say fight, fear, excitement. Explain the increase of blood glucose level after time M. The increase, explain. Okay, means why, like, the blood sugar will increase. Okay, so you can say no, because adrenaline will actually stimulate. How does it increase your blood sugar? Because it stimulates your pancreas to secrete the hormone that cause your blood sugar to increase. So you can say pancreas to secrete glucagon. And then, therefore, glycogen is converted into glucose to increase blood glucose level. And what's the effect of this hormone? So, okay, other than adrenaline increasing your blood sugar, when you kanjiong the time, right, suddenly you got dog chase you, got follow the rompak you, obviously your heart or how when you scared, then your heart boop, 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 like that. And some people start to hyperventilate, ma. Okay, because adrenaline also increases heartbeat. Okay, it also increases breathing rates. Okay, so and also increases metabolic rate to generate more energy. Yes, heartbeat increase. Blood sugar actually can lah, but we try to write glucose to be better because the main sugar is actually glucose. So we stick to glucose, then you have less chances to get wrong lah. You write glucose, be better. Okay, just a quick one, then we can go back in front to go through the fight or flight thingy. Okay, help me look at this one, page 50. Okay, just a quick one. So page 50, you can see that this fella, okay, so you look at this disease, this one you all can know already lah, the hormone and all. So you can see the same thing, the hormone that stimulates the thyroid and the thyroid secrete hormone, this one can, okay, the same thing. Then look at this further. So they ask you state one physical symptom. So this one physical symptom, but then only we say it's goitre. If the disease then is hyper or hypothyroidism, oh, yeah, so goitre is the symptom of your neck swelling. So this one actually you say hyper or hypo also can, but usually swell very big one is usually hypo. Hypo will swell bigger than hyper actually. So you can say this is due to lack of iodine, okay, causing lack of secretion of thyroxine. So therefore, hypothyroidism occur. But if they didn't mention is it too much or too little, right? Usually you can say hypo, you can say hyper also can, right? Because both also got swelling. But hypo usually will swell more lah. So if you swell very big, then I recommend you to write hypo if that's her. Okay. Then okay, page 49, one page in front, page 49. Okay, this one also very easy lah. Normal individual that bigger and individual that smaller. So the hormone imbalance here is caused by, so A, too much of obviously growth hormone, right? And the other one, obviously lack of growth hormone. So the effect is basically what happened to the fella? So if you excess growth hormone, so what do we call this? You become a giant. Yes, exactly. You have gigantism. So it's very simple. If they ask you to explain gigantism, basically you have excess abnormal growth of bones. Okay, then like become a dwarf. Just remember the Snow White and the Seven Dwarf. That's the thing. You basically have abnormal growth, or you can say stunted growth. Actually. Alright. We're almost there already, guys. Let's go back in front. So just now we haven't mentioned the fight or flight yet. Okay, so you can look at back at the extra notes, page 12, paper handout or physical class paper I give you, or if you don't have, you can just look here. Nothing much one, easy one. Okay, now fight or flight. Actually, questions now they like to ask like this a lot. They will ask how the nervous system and endocrine system involved in physiological changes during fight or flight. Okay, because fight or flight actually involves both. Yeah, I'll tell you why in a moment. So basically, what is fight or flight? Is a situation when you encounter distress situation, but this distress doesn't have to be a stressful or fearful situation. It could be excitement, like now you're about to go into competition or about to get on your or get on the plane for the first time, to go overseas for the first time. Are you very happy, very excited? Yeah, you have this kind of hormone as well, the feeling as well, almost the same one. Okay. Now, sometimes fight or flight, right, could cause you to become like Superman temporarily. Like suddenly got somebody want to chase you with a knife. You start to run faster than Usain Bolt out of nowhere. Suddenly your house caught on fire, and you suddenly become Superman and you carry the entire safe in your room down the steps. Because during this situation, right, you have more adrenaline, which we mentioned will give us more energy. So this extra energy sometimes will cause us to have suddenly have some superhuman strength like Captain America like that. That's why sometimes, right, after this panic situation, right, the person will immediately faint, right? Like suddenly you kena rompak, then you suddenly you will faint after that because your blood sugar, your level very high. Suddenly after the situation already, then you return back to normal, then just faint off because suddenly you get sudden drop of blood sugar level and also energy level. Okay, so why we start from nervous system first? Okay, nervous system maximum around 2 marks only. The main thing, of course, is endocrine. Because when a dog chase you, your eye see the dog ma. So your eye send nerve impulse to the brain, mainly the hypothalamus. So when dog chase you, you just have to say nerve impulse sent to the hypothalamus in brain. Why hypothalamus? Because hypothalamus can detect, oh, my body now blood sugar too low, temperature too low, pressure too low to face the dog. So now I got to increase all of this. Understand? So you can say hypothalamus detects the danger. That's the second point. But mainly you must say it will send nerve impulse to the adrenal gland. So from here onwards, it's endocrine system already. Of course, if you mention adrenaline, that's the next point. But if it's a 10-mark essay, okay, you will explain very detailed. Now, what does adrenaline do? Okay, here I create a method for you to remember. So you can start like this first. When you kanjiong that time, this kind of fear situation, then right, your heartbeat and breathing rate, that's the most obvious change you can feel happening in your body, right? So you can say, look, heartbeat rate and breathing rate increase. So why you want to increase these two is so that you increase your oxygen intake because you breathe faster. And if your heart pump faster, you can carry more oxygen to your body, to your muscles. Now, why you want to increase oxygen? Because more oxygen basically gives us more energy, right? But other than oxygen, what also we need, we also mentioned already, sugar. So you also can say, next, adrenaline increases blood glucose level. But how exactly, just now we say already, it increase our secretion of glucagon, remember? So blood glucose level increase. So your cellular respiration increase. So more glucose. Just now I already got oxygen. Now I got glucose. Then I will have more respiration. So cellular respiration is a kind of metabolism. So you can say metabolic rate, metabolism increases, more energy produced. So it's either to run away from the perompak or fight if you want. So why is it called fight or flight? Is it because during this kind of situation, it's either you fight for your life or you run for your life? That's what's called fight or flight. Like that only. Very simple. Okay, so this one I think you can try to write yourself. So this one I don't want to go through already because I want to go through one more thing in front. Okay, so for example, this kind of question is like they will show you. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll show you the question. Like like this they'll show you how endocrine system stimulates physiological changes in her body during the situation. But 6 marks one, easy peasy lah. Just now I give you 11 marks, 12 marks, put the answer already. So you can seriously say, adrenal glands secrete adrenaline. Adrenaline increase, heartbeat, breathing. You breathe more oxygen distribute to your muscle. Okay, then other than oxygen, you need more glucose. So glucose level also increase because you got more glucagon. So more respiration, more metabolism, more energy. Okay, can. So you just remember, how do we get energy? This is the process. So you need more oxygen, more glucose. So hence, more cellular respiration. So these are the things you need to mention. Okay, ma? Right. Then finally, okay, just now we skipped this 12.5, right? Okay, let's go back here. Now, health issues related to nervous system. The two main health issues that you can focus more, to 80% of your focus is these two. You like to ask these the most. The rest, not too much. Okay. Parkinson, basically, it's if you hear before people who have Parkinson, usually are old people. Right? And these old people, okay, usually not just Parkinson people, right? Generally old people, right? They have muscle weakness, right? They cannot carry too heavy things. And sometimes they walk also tremoring like that. Right? But if you have Parkinson, all the things that I mentioned just now were times two. Parkinson basically is due to lack of a neurotransmitter called dopamine. So only this week we just mentioned dopamine, this neurotransmitter mainly helps your brain to control muscle movement. So if you lack of dopamine, means your brain has inability to control your muscle properly. That's why you feel that your hand like no strength like that because you cannot send signal properly. That's why even if you can move your hand, it's like tremoring like that. Okay. So other than that, your brain activity could slow down. And the most important thing I just mentioned, less nerve impulse transmitted to muscle. So if they ask you to explain, so this is the cause. And they also like to ask you to state the symptom. So if symptom, you will suffer from muscle weakness because you can't send nerve impulse to your hand properly and you can't move properly. That's why you have tremorings of parts of your body, like your hands and legs especially, and you have poor balance and coordination. You just cannot control your body properly. So you coordinate, your balancing coordination be very weak lah. Okay, Alzheimer is also known as uh, Chinese you see 健忘 okay, old people that they always have memories problem. Okay, that's Alzheimer lah. So now, okay, the first point is also lack of a neurotransmitter, but now different, acetylcholine. So this one may be a bit harder to remember, but you have to remember if they ask you the cause, same, now we're talking about the cause. So acetylcholine is basically neurotransmitter that regulate brain activities. They help to connect different parts of your brain, let's say from here to here, and you need acetylcholine. So if you lack of this acetylcholine, right, your brain have troubling accessing certain parts. For example, you cannot access your memory properly. So you have memory issues. You might forget who you are, forget who's your family. Okay. And it could be caused since your neurotransmitter lack. So certain part of the brain you cannot really use properly, so the tissues will start to deplete. Okay, so this is the cause and symptom. Okay, the symptom, you can remember it's like you all like that. Like you all actually have Alzheimer. High school Alzheimer, because every time I teach you all something already, when come to exam, really you think, you got teach me this one? No lah, don't have you're confused. Where got teach? Teacher never teach before. Okay, then when exam that time, you don't know how to write the answer, so you got problems in speaking and writing. Yeah, so Alzheimer people, you have this problem. And then after exam ready, then you emo, then you behave abnormally. But okay, seriously, now why Alzheimer will behave abnormally? Because they will forget like things so they might even forget who they are. So suddenly they will think like they are president of the United States and they act like a president. Yo guys, you doing they try to be act like different normally, or some of them suddenly act like a child, some of them they think they are kids like that. Okay, yeah. So dementia is basically a symptom of Alzheimer lah. So when you forget stuff, yeah, that's called dementia. So it's a symptom in Alzheimer. Okay. So last time my grandfather used to have this. Like he forgets literally everyone, all his anak, all his chuchu, he forget. Okay. He just live in a house full with strangers and he just know the strangers feed him, that's it. Yeah, so could be until that point. And then okay, ALS. Okay, all these we don't really mention, question don't really ask a lot already, but I'll just mention a bit. Okay, ALS is basically Professor Stephen Hawking's. Basically, you have degeneration of neurons controlling your muscles. So your muscle become weak, and then eventually you cannot even move because you can't control your muscle at all. If serious, you might not be even able to breathe, you could die. ADHD usually is kids will have this sometimes. So it's due to a defect part of your brain that controls mood and emotion. So this kind of people, they will be very hyperactive because they just cannot sit still. They just need to move. They need to be always very hyper for them to feel normal. Yeah, but usually people ADHD, right? Not all the time, but usually it will go away as you grow older. But sometimes ADHD also will stay with an individual until adult. But sometimes it will go away. Okay, so it's just part of your brain that is defect. Now, autism is like the opposite of ADHD. ADHD people are like, ooh, very high like that one, but autism people usually are like, they are socially awkward one, right? Can't really communicate with people. They like don't feel comfortable with being with people. So yeah, also same developed to a part of the brain. So they have problems communicating, interacting, and engaging activities that involve fine motor skills. So yeah. And people who have autism sometimes, right, will have what you call that, OCD, right? So they will do certain things, like how to say, that normal people wouldn't do. They maybe arrange all their clothes according to colors. Okay, arrange their furniture very weirdly. Yeah, so autism people find joy in doing certain things that we don't. So they have also OCD sometimes. That's why sometimes autism people, if you watch this show called The Good Doctor, why is he such a good doctor? Because he's so OCD to the point whereby, yeah, makes him a good doctor. Okay, yeah, so that's the thing. Then epilepsy is like your brain suddenly sends signal to your body, even though you didn't control it. So it caused like sudden movement. And suddenly your hand will like suddenly slap somebody. Then suddenly you will start to jerk like that. Suddenly you shout for no reason. Okay. Yeah. So that's called epilepsy law. Means you don't send nerve impulse normally to your body. Okay, multiple sclerosis, so I got see question asking before. So this one we know a bit is better, which your immune system attack the myelin sheath of the brain and spinal cord. So myelin sheath is, remember, the thing that covers your neuron. So if your myelin sheath is being attacked by your own immune system, nerve impulse cannot be transmitted properly. So nerve impulse will like leak out. So from your brain, let's say you want to control your arm, you might not be able to control properly. So it prevents transmission of nerve impulse from brain to other parts of your body. So you will have problems in coordination. Lor. Coordination means you cannot control your body properly. Lor. Okay. Yeah. Tourette syndrome. Tourette syndrome, not so sure the difference. I think it's similar. Let me try Tourette and what's this called? Let's see. It's linked with a higher risk of epilepsy. Basically it's almost the same, but specifically what's the difference, I'm not too sure lah. But they're almost the same lah actually. Okay. Then this one, drug abuse, this one we will go through in class lah. Okay, so next week class we will start with this one, then only we go into chapter 13 lah. Okay, so today we just end over here lah. Yeah, so for example, let's say Alzheimer, Parkinson, right? Let me just show you a question also. So you must literally know cause and symptom. This is what they like to ask for Parkinson and also Alzheimer. So example, let me show you one question that we can end up to this class already. Like for example, if you look at our notes question, like, okay, basically page 21 lor. They will ask like that only lor. Very straightforward one. Explain Parkinson diseases and Alzheimer disease. So it has to explain the disease. So you just have to say lor, what caused the disease. So the lack of what neurotransmitter. Okay. Alzheimer also the same. Lack of what? Then for Parkinson, remember lot is, okay, we do Parkinson a bit lah. So basically lack of dopamine neurotransmitter lor. So this neurotransmitter is supposed to help you transmit nerve impulse to your muscle. So basically less nerve impulse transmitted to effectors. And then what happens next? Your muscle weak or with tremoring because you cannot control properly, poor coordination and balance. Okay, so that's the cause lah. So for Alzheimer, it's lack of another neurotransmitter. They was called acetylcholine. So it also caused by degeneration Generation of brain tissues. Oh. Then what happened? Then remember, lor, it's like you all forgetful, behave abnormally, problem speaking, writing, so that thing you write later. Lor. Okay? Okay lah, go and enjoy your weekend lah. That's it. See you guys. Bye bye. Good night.